Hello, my name is Gage. I'm in the Intercultural Com 263 class. So what I looked up for intercultural communication advice and a generative AI application was, so you're a news anchor, you're in the newsroom, and your new partner is a Japanese news anchor. So how do you communicate well with them? The advice that ChatGPT gave me was one, show respect for Japanese culture. So basically, figure out what their cultural values and what's formal for them. How do they talk to each other? How do they communicate with authority figures? Be able to address them in the proper way you're supposed to. Speak clear and slowly for number two. You obviously already have that language barrier, so if you're speaking too fast and kind of not confident in what you're saying, it's going to be an issue. Number three, be patient and listen carefully. It's going to take a while for them to get out what they're trying to say. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the company of the individual that they're giving their time and effort towards you. Their communication style is often indirect and subtle. So they kind of beat around the bush a little bit, but they'll get what they're needing to talk about, but it's just going to take a little longer. Use visuals to support your communication. Number four. So basically use slides, diagrams, or like videos that would help convey the other anchor to talk about what's happening correctly. Avoid interrupting at all costs. So in Japan, it's a very respectful hierarchy. So if one isn't being respected, they take massive offense towards that. So that is something that you do not want to do. Clarify your expectations. Number six. Set your goal that you're trying to get done. If it's a project, finishing it, or a certain communication skill you guys are trying to bounce off each other, let them know what you're trying to do beforehand. Build a rapport for number seven. So what that means is make them know that you care about what they're saying. So basically, dig in their history, know what they love, know what they care about, what's normal in their country, and what's different from ours. Number eight would be follow-up. So do some small talk after. Ask them how their day was. Ask them how everything was. Because they'll figure that they're more accepted into the U.S. other than just having your conversation as is in the newsroom and just leaving from there. Because that would not be the right thing to do. So about all the advice I was given, I agree with it all, mostly, except for a few bits and pieces of you don't have to know all their history. You just have to know how common courtesy is. You need to be able to give other people the decency and the time able to talk and listen, because having a conversation with somebody that just wants to blab the whole entire time without listening to a word that you're saying is a conversation that shouldn't have been started in the first place. Because realistically, you're there to talk to each other and make the issues between you lessen. So I think all the resources other than that were helpful. Besides that, being able to establish what you're talking about first, establish a common ground, show the slideshow. That one's very important, because if you're showing it, they're gonna know that these people went to the trouble to care about my transition from my country to theirs, and it will just help your guys' relationship as a whole, and communicating with one another would be easier and ideal because they would put that same effort into learning the English language. So a resource that I ended up finding was by the Harvard Law School. It's overcoming cultural barriers in negotiations and the importance of communication in international business deals. Uh, Negotiating skills and techniques for handling counterparts from different cultural backgrounds during negotiations. So what this article goes into is when negotiating with a foreign supplier, you're obviously gonna have that language gap because you're not from the same place. So speaking to one another is gonna be difficult, and you're not able to show those visual aids, show your slideshow, show all this stuff if you were sitting at a table with them. And negotiating, it's just a hand-to-hand, face-to-face deal. So how this would work was you would get a translator, have somebody help translate what you're trying to convey to the other individual, and don't come off cocky. Don't be walking away from the conversation knowing that like you just won the deal. Just show your trust in one another, show your loyalty, and consist of a positive conversation that has happened. Be aware how they perceive us, because we're not the same entirely. So be able to bridge the gap and figure out what they love and what we love as well. Find something that you guys both enjoy. Something I would change about my presentation was ask what they're talking about in the newsroom. Are they going over sports, catalytic events that are happening, or just going over normal day-to-day news life? Well, this is what I have, and have a great day, intercultural communication students.